Great day everyone, I am Pedro.
And my name is Jose Julio.
We are English students from the Universidad de Oriente in San Miguel City from El Salvador.
Today's topic is
Pragmatics.
First of all, what is a pragmatic and how we use and pragmatics into the language. First of all, we are going to see the concept into the pragmatic. First of all, we see a concept of a pragmatic, context of a pragmatic, the axis of a pragmatic, reference, inference, natural, and presuppositions into a pragmatic forms. What is a pragmatic? A pragmatic deals with linguistic forms and how those forms is using into the language. And also the pragmatic is a branch of a linguistic. So we have a relationship between semantic and pragmatic because semantic deal with the conceptual meaning of those words and the pragmatic deals with this meaning that are invisible into those words. The pragmatic deals with linguistic forms and how those forms is using into the language. And also the pragmatic is a branch of a linguistic. So we have a relationship between semantic and pragmatic because semantic with the conceptual meaning of those words and the pragmatic deals with this meaning that are invisible into those words. The study of various aspects of a language is a particular situations deal and with ways in which language user use and interpret words and utterings into their pragmatic forms. For example, in a semantic forms, we have the word ben. So we usually use have in the semantic forms have, for example, 2 minutes. In a semantic have 2 minutes, for example, in a bank, it's usually in a river. So the context is really important in this situation because the context are going to give us more details of the meaning of these words or what the speakers want to refer us. Okay, we are going to continue with other part of the pragmatic. So it's a diaxis. But what is diaxis? Diaxis we use to point things, place, or to use in a times. And is divided in 3 types. For example, the personal diaxis, the spatial diaxis, and temporal diaxis. And personal diaxis we have words like in, then, though, it, this. And in spatial diaxis we have here, there, and near. In a temporal diaxis we have words like now, then, last week, and tomorrow. So there is the use of diaxis into the pragmatic forms to reference or use as a pronouns into our words. Well, we are going to continue to give us examples about diaxis. Here we have this a little graphic about diaxis. As we know, dialectics have three stages: personal dialectics, temporal, and spatial dialectics. So we use dialectics to refer to the entity that we don't know who speakers. We have all those personal, temporal, and spatial dialectics. It's called dialectics, dialectic expressions. We have here, for example, you is one, is used as a pronoun, and then in the sentences we can identify who is the speakers and what the speakers want to refer us. And then we have time dialectics, also space dialectics, because we use those expressions to refer punctually and what time the speaker want to refer, or what certain time or what place the speaker or the user of those phones want to refer into their context. Now we have other example here. We have personal. This example says, to each his own. These expressions mention to each his own. His own is given a refer who made the actions in these sentences. We have the other example more clearly. To each their own. Here we have pronouns, so we have a dialectic into this phrase. We have other example here, temporal dialectic. It's raining now, but I know when you read this, it will be sun. So it means that when the reader reads the text, it probably will be sunny. Now we have other example here that is for the spatial dialectics. We can see I live here now. It's in a present sentence forms. And in the past form we have I live there then.
Okay, now we are talking about the next step, that is reference. What is reference? It's an act by which a speaker uses language for enable a listener or reader to identify something. In other words, we can say that reference is made only by the speaker, in a way that if we are talking to other person, we give the information. For example, the big white house next to my house was sold last semester. In that example, the reference is the big white house. Why? Because it's the one you are giving information of. Now, we are going to continue talking about inference. But first of all, we have to know that to have an inference, we already had to have a reference. So, the inference is made by the listener, which means that every time you listen something for the speaker, you always make an inference. Here, one example. Jennifer is wearing Calvin Klein. In this example, we can say that the reference is wearing Calvin Klein, and the inference is made by the listener. So that means that she is wearing clothes of the Calvin Klein. Now, I'm going to continue with the topic pragmatics, and I'm going to explain you anaphora. So, an anaphora can be defined as subsequent reference to an already introduced entity. For example, we found a house to rent, but the kitchen was very small. In this example, we can say that the antecedent of the sentence is a house, because in the sentence it's talking about a house to rent, but that we cannot rent that house because the kitchen is very small, and the kitchen refers to a house. That is an anaphora. Now, to continue talking about the topic pragmatics, I'm going to talk about presupposition. So, what is presupposition? Presupposition is what a speaker or writer assumes is true or known by a listener or reader. For example, I will explain this short example. For today is the English homework. In this example, we can assume that the listener already know about the homework. That is a presupposition.
Now we are going to explain about speech acts. We have been considered ways in which we interpreted the meaning of utterance in terms of what the speaker intends to convey. We use the terms speech act to describe actions such as requesting, commanding, or requesting, or informing. We can define a speech act as an action performed by the speaker with the utterance. We have one example. I will be there at 4 p.m. We see in this example the performing the speak act is a promising. Now we are going to explain about direct and indirect speech act. We usually use in a certain syntactic structure when we don't know something and we ask someone to provide the information. One example, we can say, can you ride a bicycle? The direct speak or the concept of the utterance, it means that someone are going to provide information about these questions. Other example we have, can you pass the salt? This example we can compare and we can simulate that can you ride a bicycle is one question that someone's are going to provide this information. But the other question is, can you pass the salt? So this is really different between those requesting or those questions. We have an indirect example, like for example, a visitor. Excuse me, do you know where is the Ambassador Hotel? The direct answer for this questions is, oh, sure, I know where is it. The main reason we use indirect speak act in this question because someone's are going to give us information about one questions. We seem to be that actions social as a request.